Hello guys, welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to use context API with the older versions of Next.js. So let's get into it. So first of all, I'm going to copy this command right here. Don't worry, we are not going to be using the latest version. So I'm going to change the version to version 12. Let's choose 12.2.0. Yes, and then we're gonna use the default. I'm going to call it context 12. Context 12. Whoa, that was context 12 instead of context. Shit happens. So let's wait for it to finish installing. So we're gonna cd enter and then open our code editor right there. So I'm just going to put this, and then let's start. First of all, let's go in full screen here. So the first thing we want to do is create a context folder. So I'm just going to create a context folder here, and inside of that we need to have a file. You can name it whatever you want to. I like naming mine context.js, and right inside here we'll define our context. So first of all, we want to import create context. Create context, use states from React, and then the next thing we want to do is create our context. Gonna make it export const. We're gonna call this message context. Use create context. I'm passing just an empty object there, and then the next thing is to create our components, the context itself, context. So I'm just going to return in here message context.provider. I'm passing the children. Then the next thing we want to do here is now define the state. So here I'm just going to say const user. Let's imagine we are using user messages. Set user messages, use states. I'm just going to make that and then right here we want to pass in the value, which you must not forget we are going to be using double curly braces for that. Passing the user message and the set user message user message and set user message. So this is our state. Basically, we are using this as our state, and this is our set state. So this can be any state that you want to be available through this context API. So now that we have that, what we want to do is we want to go to our app.js here, and we want to wrap underscore app.js, and then we want to wrap it with the context entirely. So right here, I'm going to change this. I'm just going to paste that, change the whole of this, and I'm going to import this context here, which is message context. Is it message context or context? Let's take a look at that. This is context, so we are not exporting it. So when we need to export it, which is export default context, and then we'll go back here and import the context. We'll save that. Let's start our server and dev. Okay, so our app should be up and ready, which it is. So right here we have the land page, and the next thing we want to do is we want to update this page. So I'm just going to paste in. So basically, this is the input, and this is just to link to the next page. So we can also check the value of the user message right here. So what we're doing is we are updating. Whenever you type in data here, we are going to update this user message. And we want to check that when we get to this, we need to create a dashboard page also. So that when we click on this, it will take us to the dashboard page. And we'll also check that our data is being persisted and we can access it in the dashboard page. So basically, we just create a dashboard page here. Now, we need to pull in the message from. So here, I'm just going to do const on the structure, the user. Use context, and that should be message. Let's import this first of all. Then that should be user message context. Sorry. So we need to pass in the message context here and also import it from the context file. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to disable this. And then right here, just for the purpose of demonstrating this, we want to pass in our user message and save that. So now let's check. Here I'm going to refresh this first of all. Set the name to John. Okay, I think we haven't saved this update here. You can see it's right there. So I'm going to move this out of this place, put it in a p tag instead. So you can see the join. Let's now check the dashboard page if we can access it there. Nothing is being displayed here. Let's make sure I saved that. So there is a problem. It's not being updated. Let's try to fix that here. User message, use context. Just going to make sure I'm putting, okay, it should be user messages, not user message. I'm putting the right variable. User message, let's update this also. And then we can test that again. Josh. You can see we have it being displayed here. So that's basically how you use context API. But there's a problem with this context API, which is also a problem with all state management tool in React. And the problem is that the data is not being persisted once we refresh the page. So if I refresh the page now, this state is going to be lost. So let's test that. This is a problem with Next.js. You can see that it has been lost. So we need a way to keep track of to persist the data, and there are multiple ways you can do that. You can do that by storing the data in your local storage. You have a couple of options. You can store it in your local storage here. You can also store in your cookie, but the cookie has less space compared to the local storage. Local storage has between 5 to 10 megabytes depending on the browser you are using, but the cookie is in bytes and numbers of characters. There is a limited number of characters you can store the cookie. So basically, you can either use the local storage or other storage like the Next.js here, also which is even much more secure than the local storage. So if you are storing in your local storage, you must be careful and know the sensitive information you shouldn't be storing there. So just for the state that you probably need to persist and doesn't contain any critical information. If you are going to be storing a lot of sensitive data, then I would advise you go for Next.js. So probably in the future I'll drop a tutorial on how to use the Next.js. So but for now, let's make use of the local storage to persist our data. So how do you do that? You go to your context. So this is optional. You can choose to do this or not. Depends on you. So in a production environment, since you'll be calling endpoints most of the time, you are not required to persist the data in the local storage. But if you want to, then that's fine. So what we want to do is to save the data in the local storage to persist it. And now we're going to do that. We're going to use effect. Use effect. I'm passing an empty dependency here. So right here, we want to check for let's message be equals to local storage.get Instead of message, let's make it user message. Get user message. So we want to check if this is true. Then we want to say else passing null. I'm going to pass in a question mark here to check if local storage is available. And then we're going to check the value that is being returned. If message is not equals to undefined. The reason I'm using a single equals to is because it will check for both undefined and null. But if I use double equals to like this, it will only check for undefined. So I'm going to also put and message is not equals to the text equivalent of undefined. So if that is true, we are not passing a JSON data yet to the local storage. But if you want, we are passing a JSON data, then you can use JSON to pass it. But this is just plain text, so we won't be using JSON. So use effects here. So we are going to pass here user message to watch for changes here. So if there's any change, we want to update the local storage. So what we'll do is if user message is not equals to undefined and it's not equals to null, we want to set the item user message equals to user message. Okay, so let's test the application. Need to go back there. Here, put in Peter. Go to dashboard. We have Peter. Now let's refresh the page and see if we still get Peter. You can see the data is now being persisted. So that brings us to the end of this tutorial. Kindly like and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this. So see you next time.